Better athlete, you or Jordan?
Athlete? Bo Vincent Jackson.
Bo Jackson was the first superhero of my generation.
Something mythical about everything that he did.
Oh my!
There are athletes, and then there are stories we tell ourselves about athletes. Bo Jackson became one of those stories.
There's nothing overrated about Bo Jackson. Zero.
There goes Bo, and nobody catches Bo.
He may not stop till Tacoma.
Before people talked about championships, stats, or legacy, they talked about him like he wasn't even human. And for a moment, he wasn't.
And Bo Jackson to the 20. Bo is there.
Bo Jackson looked like an answer to a question nobody had asked yet. What if one person could do it all? And maybe that's why his story feels unfinished. Because it is. His story didn't end. It froze. No real decline, no final chapter, just possibility. And maybe that's why decades later we're still trying to figure out who Bo Jackson actually was. Because the world turned him into a legend, a myth. But Bo, he spent his life being something else completely. Because there was a version of him that almost didn't make it out at all.
I don't think the public knows me. People can say that they know me from the athletic side of me, but no one really knows me.
I grew up in a small town outside of Birmingham, Alabama, called Bessemer. Bessemer, Alabama. Small town, very low-income area. My mother raised 10 kids in a 3-room house that probably wasn't 700 square feet.
There were times when I wore my sister's shoes to school, and the kids would look at my desk and see the shoes, and they'd say, those are girl shoes. And I would lie and say, no, those are my shoes. But that's all that I had to wear at that time.
His father wasn't really around, at least not in the ways that matter. But the things that Bo needed the most, structure, discipline, those never showed up.
My father had a family across town, and so forth and so on, and I'd see him once a month.
And for a kid like Bo, that absence didn't stay quiet. It turned into something else.
I inherited stuttering from my father, which made me introverted, which means I didn't talk a lot. I didn't conversate a lot with people.
And when people would tease you about your stuttering,
what would the hell out of them? Just as simple as that. They just had to pay the piper.
He fought, got in trouble, pushed every boundary he could find.
There was always violence in my childhood, whether I was beating someone up or somebody's trying to beat me up, or you always had to take care of yourself.
So how do you get from Vince Edwards to Bo?
Bo is a nickname. Like I said, everybody from the South has a nickname. In the South, a wild pig is called a boar.
A boar, sure.
And that symbolizes he's very tough, mean, ornery. I had that temperament, so I was like a John Gotti of my neighborhood. And the Southern people don't say boar hog, they just say bow hog.
Yeah.
So that's how I got that name.
Wild, strong, but mainly out of control. But for a while, that name fit for all the wrong reasons.
I ended that chapter because it wasn't getting me anywhere.
Then something shifted. Not overnight, but just in time. A coach saw something in him. Not just talent, but his energy. And instead of trying to take it away, he gave it somewhere to go. That anger, the restlessness, it didn't disappear, it just got redirected. And once it did, everything started to change.
He was just phenomenal. He set a state record in the triple jump his senior year. He high jumped 6'8", set a new state record. And we had to borrow a pole because we didn't even have a track at McAdoo. It's a 180-pound test pole, which is for 180 pounders and down. And Bo was 215 using that pole and went over 13 feet. I mean, we saw him do some things that were just, you don't see happen in high school.
Then football, then baseball. Not just one sport, all of them.
The only time he came off the field was for punts. He returned punts, he returned kicks, he played defense.
He'd hit 2 home runs, 2 at-bats. And the left fielder was playing up against the fence the 3rd time up, playing really deep. And Bo hits a towering fly ball.
And he hit it between the third baseman and the left fielder, and he hit it sky high. And Bo started jogging to first because he thought he was out. And Coach Brazil, he yelled at him to start running.
The ball drops in, so I'm gonna hold Bo up at second. So I throw my hands up like this to hold him up. He's on top of me at third. And I'm like, I just do this, and he makes a short loop and scores, stand up. and the place went crazy.
Bo was not only better than everyone else, but he looked like he didn't belong on the same field. He didn't follow the normal path of development, and if we're being honest, he kind of just skipped it.
Bo, we go play Bowles High School, and it was one of the most amazing things. And I was like, he's already bigger and faster than everybody else. But it was so beautiful to watch.
By the time most athletes were still trying to figure out who they were, Bo already looked like the finished version of something nobody had ever really seen before. And that was the point, because this was a kid trying to control something inside himself and discovering almost by accident that he could do things no one else could.
The Yankees sent down their super scout, Steinbrenner's #1 scout. He said, "Coach, can I see Bo? Can I see him hit?" And Bo just happened to heard me. He said, "Coach, I'll hit a couple of balls in the cage." I said, "You got 2 pitches." So I threw the first one. He hits a rocket, line drive into the far corner of the cage. The cage starts moving. The whole cage is bouncing. All of a sudden, the cage collapsed on me and Bo. And the scout says, "Coach, I've seen enough." He got in his car and drove off.
The offers started coming in. The New York Yankees offered him $250,000 straight out of high school, more money than most people around him had ever seen. But he said no, not because him or his family didn't need it, but because he made a promise to his mother that he would go to college.
You know, the Jacksons were, they were poor, but they were fiercely proud.
Bo promised her that he would be the one that would go to college because none of the others did.
So he chose Auburn, simply because it gave him something no one else did, a chance to play everything. Football, baseball, track, all of it.
And then he comes to Auburn the next year. And I tell people one of the coolest things for me was getting an opportunity to watch that dude play football every Saturday.
And without realizing it, he made the decision that would change everything. Because at this point, Bo was just trying to find direction. And somehow, that search turned into something the world had never seen before.
Some of the most phenomenal things that he did with his body, he never even thought about it. And I'd sit there and look at him and I said, I can't believe I saw what I just saw. And it was an everyday thing to him. He lived with it 24 hours a day, and I just saw it 2 hours a day.
From the moment he stepped on campus, it was clear this wasn't normal progression. Most freshmen spend their first year, adjusting, learning the speed of the game, waiting for their turn. Bo, even in limited opportunities early on, there were flashes. Moments where the field didn't seem to move at the same speed for him as it did for everyone else.
Andy Campbell gives to Bo Jackson. Jackson's on his way. Goodbye. In your face. 71 yards for Bo Jackson.
Watching practice, you saw him do it with your own eyes, but you just couldn't believe what you were looking at.
Pat turned to us, and he was looking to see if we had seen what Jackson had just done. And he said, did you see that? And he smiled and said, it's hard to miss a Cadillac.
Then came the play people would remember long before they remembered any stat line.
Hadn't beat Alabama in, I think, 8 years. When I got to Auburn in 1981, and we lost in 81, so it was 9 years, I guess, without beating Alabama.
The fact that Alabama had won 9 years in a row began to have an effect on Auburn people's psyche. We were beaten mentally and emotionally.
Rivalry game. 4th and goal, everything on the line.
Well, 4th and 1, everybody knew what the play was. Alabama knew what the play was going to be. The fans knew what the play was going to be.
And if you get beat, you get beat. But you're gonna make them beat the best you got.
First things first. 4th and goal and a half a yard. Jackson!
Touchdown. Auburn wins.
The Alabama games, those were some of the most memorable moments my freshman year. That Bo over the top.
That was the moment things started to shift, because up until then, Bo Jackson was just a talented athlete. But after that game, he became something people talked about differently.
That day, Bo Jackson gave Auburn the greatest thing an individual can give a people or a school.
By his sophomore year, the flashes turned into consistency. Over 1,200 rushing yards on barely more than 150 carries. Nearly 8 yards per carry. Production that led the conference and broke expectations of what efficiency was supposed to look like. Defenses knew exactly what was coming and still couldn't stop it. Stack the box, he'd run through it. Try to contain the edge, he'd outrun the angle. It didn't matter.
45 Here he comes. 40, 35. They won't catch him. Forget it. Bo Jackson for the touchdown.
And the strangest part was that football still wasn't the whole story. At the same time, Bo was playing baseball at a level that would have defined someone else's entire career.
College baseball was in its infancy in terms of popularity. But in this part of the world, we never went anywhere that it wasn't packed. But it was because of Bo.
Not only was he successfully balancing both sports, but he was thriving in both as well.
We'd have visiting coaches call and ask if we could come early so Bo could sign autographs for an hour. These are things we're going to play.
Oh yeah, then there was track. No specialized training, no perfect facilities, just raw talent, raw ability. He could show up, compete against elite athletes, and hold his own. Again, most athletes spend their entire lives trying to become great at one thing. Bo Jackson was becoming elite at everything. And because of that, the conversation around him began to change. It wasn't about whether he was the best running back or whether he had a future in baseball. It became something harder to answer, something simpler and at the same time more complicated. What is he? Not a position, not a role, just what is he?
Where to be tonight on that last score? Yes, you know, the line they come off and block real well, and the space was there. That's all that I had to do was get up off the ground and go to the top.
By the time his senior season arrived, the answers didn't get clearer. They just got louder. And at the end of it, he won the Heisman Trophy, the highest individual honor in college football.
The winner is, from Auburn University, Bo Jackson.
The award gave him recognition, but it didn't give him definition. And that's what made, or was one of the things that made Bo Jackson different. He was a great athlete, but he was just difficult to explain. However, he would sort of be forced into choosing one of two sports. And everyone just assumed it would be football. It offered the spotlight, the stage, and the fastest path to becoming a household name. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers made that clear when they selected him with the #1 overall pick in the 1986 NFL Draft. The kind of moment most players dream about their entire lives.
Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers select first choice on the first round. Running back from Auburn, Bo Jackson.
We're very pleased with the draft of Bo. One thing, it's not a gamble as to his talent, and I'll take the gamble on whether he plays football or baseball.
But not Bo. He walked away from it.
Nobody has walked or ran in Bo's shoes. And once I make my mind up about what I'm going to do, it's going to be because it's what Bo wants and not what somebody else's wants.
But why would he walk away from such a huge opportunity? Well, a pre-draft visit to Tampa Bay had cost him his final season of college baseball eligibility, something he had been told wouldn't happen.
I expected to play football at the professional level. I was thinking about not going to Tampa Bay. Because the officials at Tampa Bay told me personally, yes, we checked and they said that it was okay. I think it was all a plot now just to get me ineligible from baseball because they saw the season that I was having and they thought that they were going to lose me to baseball. And if we declare him ineligible, then we got him.
And then I just told him, I said, look, you screwed me out of my senior year in baseball. I'm going to screw you out of the first-round draft pick. They said, well, you can't turn in this because we're going to offer you one of the biggest contracts, which was over a $7 million contract. You aren't going to do that just to play for $1 million. I said, draft me and find out. Draft me and find out.
Yeah. Whether it was intentional or not, didn't matter to him. The trust was gone.
He has to make a decision, and when he decides, then we'll say, God bless. We're hoping that it'll be football. I think it will be.
So he made a decision that most people didn't take seriously. He chose baseball.
This guy was arguably the best college running back ever. He's drafted #1 overall. And on a point of pride, he says, you know what? I don't want to play football. I'm going to go play baseball instead.
He signed with the Kansas City Royals and stepped into a version of his career that was far less certain.
How can you turn down the NFL as a Heisman Trophy winner and go play for the Kansas City Royals? And on top of that, go play in Memphis. You're not going to the big leagues, son. You're going to Double-A.
And in doing that, he revealed something that had been there all along. That decision alone would have defined most careers. But for Bo, it was only a part of the story.
And Bo, I'm here to welcome you as the newest member of the Kansas City Royals.
I proved all of you wrong. And now all of you are sitting here saying, this guy, he's done just the opposite. I'm going to always do the opposite.
And
Nobody really knew who Bo Jackson was. We figured he was just some football player.
When I first saw him coming to the league, I didn't think much of him.
What's this guy think he's going to do? Come in here and play baseball and hit that ball to the fence? And does he know that baseball's the hardest thing to do?
Who said anything about reaching greatness? I'm human. I just wish people would just let me go into this sport and get what I can out of it and let it be at that.
When he came over to my locker, they said, "This is Bo Jackson." I'm going, "What are you doing here? You know, you just won the Heisman Trophy. What are you doing in our locker room?" And about 2 months later, we found out why he was there.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Taking ball driven to left center field and well hit. Back goes Bradley. Back goes Moser. Oh, it's a home run. It's almost on the top of the bank in left field.
His first home run in the major leagues was the longest home run in this stadium's history.
People knew then that I was serious about the baseball.
You're one of the best college running backs ever. Came very easy to you. And a lot of people say one of the hardest things to do is to hit a ball being thrown at you at 100 miles an hour with a bat. How do you feel about that?
Well,
Jackson hits that one to left field. Danny Pascal going back, looking up. Goodbye. It's over. Ball 3. Kansas City. Bo Jackson's 21st home run.
I think we were in Toronto playing the Blue Jays. And the gentleman that I had represented me called me and said, "Hey, you still want to play football?" He said, "Because there is a team out there that wants to know." I said, "Well, that depends on who the team is." He said, "It's LA Raiders." I said, "Hell yeah."
The following year, the Los Angeles Raiders drafted him in the 7th round. But unlike Tampa Bay, Raiders owner Al Davis didn't try to force Bo into one path. He offered something different, a way to do both. Baseball first, football second. And for Bo, that was enough.
Whatever comes after baseball season is a hobby for Bo Jackson. Just like fishing and hunting, I may pick up another hobby after baseball season.
But the problem I see with what Bo Jackson had to say was that he equated the game of football with a part-time pastime hobby like fishing or playing a little round of golf. I think a guy like Howie Long, if he's on the other team, he tackles Bo Jackson at a critical time. He says, "Hey, hobby this." And then Mr. Fogelman is stuck with some damaged knees and a baseball player in Kansas City.
And that was the part no one really knew how to process, because the rules that applied to everyone else didn't seem to apply to him. Most, if not all, players need time to prepare. Bo just kind of showed up, because for the first time in his life, he wasn't being pushed in one direction or another. He was choosing. And somehow that freedom made him even more dangerous.
He goes to the Raiders, doesn't play the first game, and then a month later, he's arguably the best running back in the game. And that was just, it was crazy.
Bo Jackson. Oh, look at him. Touchdown. Oh, my.
And then the moments started to stack. A 91-yard touchdown run on Monday Night Football.
3rd down and 6 at the 9. To the 20 and out in front, and only one man to beat, and easily can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo, and nobody catches Bo. Touchdown.
It's like little kids chasing a grown man.
It's the longest run in Raider history.
The Bosworth moment.
Brian Bosworth came out of college with his reputation that he was this nasty, rough, tough guy.
Bosworth, being one of the most hyped defenders in the league, got ran through like the collision didn't even register for Bo.
3rd and 1 from the 2. Here's Bo. And here goes Bo for the touchdown. He and Bosworth one-on-one, and Jackson just shoves him into the end zone.
Sorry, 220 beats 240 easily.
At the same time on the baseball field, he was doing things that felt just as impossible.
This is impressive.
Not talent.
Orsolak licks that one to left center field. Bo on the charge. Bo is there. Yo, mama, love that one.
What made it different wasn't just the power or speed. It was how often it happened. These weren't isolated moments. They were constant. Every game felt like it might produce something you hadn't seen before. And that's when the world started to catch on.
When you first think about Bo Jackson, you think about probably one of the greatest athletes of all time.
There's nothing overrated about Bo Jackson. Zero.
Hit well to center field. Deion Sanders going back.
to the wall, and it is gone. Bo Jackson homers to put the Royals ahead 2-0.
But then there was the All-Star game. Nike had been preparing to launch a campaign built around a simple idea: Bo knows. The plan was to introduce it during that year's MLB All-Star game. A big stage, a national audience, the perfect moment to turn an athlete into something bigger.
Jim Reswold came up with the campaign and really conveyed the notion of how great Bo was, and secondarily, how the cross-training shoe kind of reflected what Bo epitomized.
But what happened next couldn't have been planned.
I don't know if there's ever been anyone do it.
Hey, he's remarkable, and look at that one. Bo Jackson says hello.
A home run on the biggest stage with the entire country watching. And then cut to commercial.
Bo knows football. Bo knows baseball.
Bo knows basketball, too.
Bo knows tennis? No.
This wasn't just marketing anymore. It just felt like confirmation in real time, because what people had just seen lined up perfectly with what the campaign was trying to say. That Bo Jackson wasn't just an athlete, that he wasn't limited to one thing, that somehow he could do everything.
Toward the corner in left field, it's going to be up to Bo Jackson to try to stop Reynolds from scoring. He can't do it. Yes, he can. I don't believe it. He made an absolutely perfect throw.
Let's hear it for Bo Jackson.
A lot of people say, well, Bo shouldn't be trying to play different sports because certainly he's not putting his mind into his whole heart into one sport. I said, well, the man's got enough talent to play whichever sport he chooses to.
Can they stay with Kansas City, and can Denver stay with Bo Jackson? The answer is no. Bo has another.
But the strangest part of it all was how he carried himself. There was no obsession with legacy, no urgency to prove he was the best, no sense that he was trying to build something historic. He just showed up, played, and left.
And it couldn't happen to a more humble superstar. That's the other thing that people don't realize, is how humble Bo Jackson was as a superstar.
Which only made the myth grow faster, because the less he tried to explain himself, the more people filled in the gaps. The moments became stories, and those stories became legend. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, Bo Jackson stopped feeling like a person people could fully understand. He became something else entirely. He became a symbol, a possibility of potential, of what it might look like if someone could actually do everything. But the problem with something that feels impossible is that it doesn't usually last.
Bo Jackson has some room. One man to beat. And Walker, as he made the tackle, had only the one leg to grab, and apparently Bo Jackson, shaken up a bit, has not gotten to his feet as yet. That was a 34-yard run by Jackson.
The tackle had dislocated his hip, and when Bo did what he had always done, when he relied on his strength, his control, and ability to push through anything, he made it worse. As he forced it back into place, he unknowingly cut off the blood supply to the joint, avascular necrosis. The thing that made him different is what ended him. And no one knew, not the fans, not the team, not even Bo. There were reports and speculations, hope that he would return the same way he always had, step back in and pick up where he left off, because that's what Bo Jackson did, right? But not this time. He couldn't.
It was kind of heartbreaking because you'd grown up now with this whole Bo Knows campaign and this whole idea of him and who he was.
It wasn't an extension of him trying to play two sports that made that happen. It was sort of just kind of a freak injury.
The damage didn't heal, it spread. What started as something manageable became something permanent, and eventually reality set in. Not all at once, but gradually. The version of Bo Jackson the world had come to know was gone.
The tears that I have and the sadness that I have is not because the Royals let me go. The tears are because I'm leaving so many good friends.
Well, we learned yesterday that it would happen. We now know that it will happen sometime this summer. That's when Bo Jackson will have his left hip replaced, even though it probably means the end of his athletic career.
Most careers don't survive what happened to Bo's. At 28 years old, after one of the most devastating injuries an athlete can suffer, the expectation was that he would disappear. Hip replacement surgery wasn't something elite athletes came back from. It was an overall life adjustment. Walking without pain became the goal. But Bo had never really followed the expectations placed on him. So he went to work.
He went through some rough roads trying to get that hip ready for baseball, where most people just try to ambulate and walk and just try to have a normal life, which that was our goal, but he wanted to play baseball anyway. And, you know, we certainly respected his wishes and tried to get him ready, and we did get him ready to play baseball.
The same kind of work that had once redirected his life now focused on something much smaller, but somehow more difficult. Learning how to move again, how to trust his body, how to rebuild something that for the first time wasn't naturally there. And then slowly something started to come back. Not the same speed or same explosiveness, but enough to try.
Bo beat the odds and a hip condition that could have put him into a rocking chair. Tonight, he returned to the show for the White Sox.
So by 1993, Bo Jackson stepped back onto the baseball field, something that not long before had felt impossible. And in his first at-bat, he did the only thing that felt fitting.
That ball hit deep to right field. Tarnover goes back, looks up. You can't put it in the ball. Yes! Bo Jackson, in his first at-bat in the 93 season, homers to right field, and what a moment this is for that man.
But that moment, specifically for Bo, was about a promise. Before she passed away, Bo had told his mother that if he ever made it back, his first hit would be for her. And that's what made the comeback different. This wasn't Bo Jackson returning to pick up where he left off because that version of him, respectfully, was gone. This was something new, a version of Bo that had to fight for something that once came easily. A version that wasn't defined by what he could do better than anyone else, but by what he refused to let go of. He wasn't the same player. The numbers reflected that. The explosiveness wasn't what it had been, but he was still competing, still proving in a different way what had always made him special. Not just the ability, but his mindset. And eventually, quietly, just like so many parts of his career, it came to an end. No dramatic farewell or final moment, just a decision. A 32-year-old Bo Jackson walked away.
No more Nike, no more baseball, no more games. That is the decision by Bo Jackson.
I woke up yesterday morning and I called down to my office and I talked to my business manager and I said, well, I think I'm gonna retire this afternoon.
He never became what people expected him to be. Not completely. He didn't build a decade-long career in one sport. He didn't compile the kind of numbers that define greatness in a traditional sense. He never made the Football or Baseball Hall of Fame. And yet, he still became something else entirely. Because what people remember about Bo Jackson isn't a resume. It's not a stat line or a list of accomplishments. It's a feeling. The feeling that for a moment, the impossible was real.
Some more hang time. Deep to right. The hat trick. When this guy gets it going, it's something to watch.